Meanwhile, a stunning setback in the investigation of those deadly mass shootings at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. A gunman killed 2 students, wounded 9 others. Some of them are still in critical today. That just happened 2 days ago on Saturday afternoon. Now, all these hours later, authorities say that they have taken a person of interest into custody. They said they did that. And then last night, they said they were releasing that person of interest as evidence now points to a different direction. Rhode Island's Attorney General faced pushback on the admission that the shooter wasn't caught and that shooter is still out there.
How is it possible not to have any other evidence surrounding this? And this is ordinary Rhode Islanders reaching out to law enforcement, and they're confused by that. And quite frankly, some of them are terrified.
Well, look, there just weren't a lot of cameras in that Brown building, is the reality. The reality is it's an old building attached to a new one. So there just isn't, Pat. I don't know what to tell you, but we're going to go out and find whatever evidence we can to solve this case as quickly as we can. I mean, we're not holding back video that we think would be useful. And I don't think I should even have to say it.
So far, investigators have released only this video of the possible gunman. They say it's the best they have. Brown University students have shared their own videos of what they experienced as the terror unfolded.
Hands. Everybody get your hands. Hands. Just keep your hands up for us. Obviously there's something going on. We're here to help you. Just listen to what we have to say, okay? All right, breathe. Anybody hurt? No? All right, just listen to our commands. We will get you out of here safely.
Listen to that experience. All right, everybody breathe. Brian Yanis is in Providence, Rhode Island right now. And Brian, just bring us up to date on what they're saying about who they're looking for now and how that person is different.
Well, Harris, the mayor of Providence, Brett Smiley, said this morning that they don't have any new information to share with the public. They said that ultimately they are still tracking down tips and any other potential leads here. But he said it is, quote, disappointing, obviously, to them that the detained person of interest had to be released. And ultimately, you showed that video of the person of interest. The mayor said this morning as well that that still remains the clearest picture yet, the clearest video they have of the potential gunman. And in a surprise 11 p.m. press conference last night, authorities said that the evidence from the scene and lab testing shows that there's no basis that the man that they did detain is the gunman. The Providence police and the FBI followed up on a tip, and they traced a 24-year-old from Wisconsin early Sunday morning to a hotel in Coventry, some 20 miles south of Brown University. We're also getting a better understanding of the terror inside Brown University's engineering and physics building. Just after 4 p.m. on Saturday, terrified students were left hiding, some for 10 to 12 hours during the lockdown. In an interview with ABC News, Joseph Oduro, who was leading a review session for an upcoming economics final when the gunman opened fire in his classroom. Listen.
I look to my right and I see a bunch of students running down the stairs, running out the door, jumping on the ground, just whatever it takes to stay alive.
When you made eye contact with him, what did your mind tell you in terms of what was happening in that moment?
When I saw him, I saw a gun. The gun was so big and long that I genuinely thought, like, okay, this is the end of the road for me.
A community vigil was held yesterday for the 2 students killed. A reverend at the Cathedral Church of the Advent in Birmingham, Alabama, confirming one of those students is Ella Cook, a sophomore and vice president of the Republican Club on campus. The church's reverend called Cook an incredible, grounded, faithful, bright light. Brown University remains open, Harris, but classes, finals, projects, they've all been canceled, perhaps scheduled for a later date. The mayor says there is no public safety threat. That means that the lockdown has been lifted, but people here are anxious. There is no clear image of this gunman's face, and they're asking for folks, if they have any video or photos, to submit them. Harris.
Look, I have a quick follow for you, and I only say this because you gave her title, and I'm not trying to infer anything. What is being said? The vice president of the Republican Club on campus, Ella Cook, is there anything to know about where she was, affiliated?
No, there's nothing there's nothing that we should say here that references to why she may have been, why she was shot, or if this has anything to do with the shooting other than that was a title of something that she did on campus. I'm not trying to infer at all that that is an important investigatory detail to know. Harris.
No, and you inferred nothing. You are a consummate professional, but I just wanted to ask the question because it's there to ask it. All right, thank you very much. Let me bring in Bobby Chacon now, retired FBI special agent. All right, so Bobby, in this case, there were, you know, you're on a manhunt. I imagine that sort of thing can happen and does, but there's a lot of pressure now because you just don't have a whole lot to look at. Like, how'd you pick the first guy?
Well, they got a tip, and they did their prudent investigative activity. They brought the person in, they questioned him for a number of hours, and they ruled him out. That's why we call these people people of interest. They're not suspects, they're not charged, so people shouldn't jump to conclusions until the person is charged with a crime. That's prudent investigative work, bringing people in, questioning for hours on end sometimes, making sure that they're not the person, and then releasing them.
Well, you know who knows this? The perps. I mean, we saw something similar in Utah after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. They thought they had one guy, and it turned out to be another guy that they needed to hold as a suspect. Your thoughts?
That's right. And it doesn't mean that any ball has been dropped or this is a mistake. This is prudent investigative work. Especially when somebody so violent is at large in the public, you have to bring these people in, get them off the street, and vet them and make sure they're not the person, and then release them.
All right. Talk to me about the crime scene of this case. And I always ask this forensically, what you're up against as law enforcement.
Yeah, it's chaotic in these classrooms. You know, desks are overturned. There's blood everywhere. It's really hard to get an idea of what happened. So you're talking to witnesses because it's vitally important now to know who was the first person shot, because that person, the shooter, went in there with the intention of killing someone. Who is that person? And so oftentimes it's tough to get a sequence of victims, but the first person is often easier because people aren't jumping under desks until they hear that first shot. So oftentimes you know who the first person shot was, and that's oftentimes your intended victim. So that they're probably going through witness statements, interviewing people in the hospital, interviewing others that were in that classroom, and say, what's the first thing you remember seeing? Who was the first person shot? If they can establish that, that goes a long way in knowing who the intended victim was, and then the motivation for the shooting becomes more clear.
Does your expertise, your experience, do they inform you that there are possibly more videos that the law enforcement are working with? I mean, they haven't released anything else, and you saw that from just a little short clip we had from the news conference. Reporters want to know that because there are cameras everywhere. I would assume in that part of Rhode Island they'd have more than one shot.
Yeah, I mean, there's two reasons you'd release things, right? You release them for general safety of the public, if it actually is going to make the public more safe by releasing it, and if there's a strategic benefit to the investigation, like identifying people, like we saw in the Charlie Kirk shooting. His family recognized him, you know. So I think that if there's not, then you hold on to it, because if you're closing in on a suspect because of that video, you don't want that suspect spooked and him to take off. So you hold it back if you're sure, or you're pretty sure you're getting close to the person and you don't want them getting in the wind and taking off. So there's reasons to publish it and there's reasons to hold on to it. I just don't know at what point they are in that investigation.
Yeah, and everybody told now to shelter in place all over again. And what you're pointing out is brilliant, because you try to keep him close so he's easier to catch, so you don't put too many identifying factors out there. Bobby Chacon, always great to have you in focus. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sure.
Hey, it's Will Cain. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Cain podcast for full episodes right now.